Well, good morning everybody. This is Capri in Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward, and in today's video, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about flipping. Flipping is just another word for buying low and selling high, and this is its own little minigame of risk and return. Flipping can be easy or hard, take as much or little time as you want, but the big requirement is that you need to have some gil already to spend. If you're new to Final Fantasy XIV, or you are new to this idea of flipping, you should probably try it out on an alt first, a character in which you don't care if they run out of money. The flipping method, just like any other gil method, you're going to start out with looking for items on the market board, anything that you know will sell for more than what is being listed for. There will always be deals on the market board, for many different reasons, from people clearing out their inventory, not knowing what the value of the item actually holds, and even people who want to be helpful. They're making items dirt cheap, but not understanding that if they are selling everything for dirt cheap, it makes it difficult for the people they are trying to help make their own gil. Some of the massive culprits to look for on the market board, they include low-leveled gear, materia, refined materials, and materials from mob drops. People get these from questing or leveling or dungeons, and they just want to get it out of their inventory and get something for it. They're not worried about getting as much as they can from it. And then this is when it starts to get a little bit math heavy. So in order to break even, you will need to be able to sell the item for at least 10% more than what you paid for it. And then for a profit, aim to sell it for at least 20% more than what you paid. So for today's example, I'm so sorry I didn't collect enough footage of it, but we will be watching me flip Materia and Demi Materia. Handy little tip for people considering a server transfer, which is what I was doing. I was prepping for one. Tons of materia gets listed for near vendor value. So while I was prepping for my transfer, I'm going to keep on buying these up as I come across it. The vendor value on Materia and Demi Materia ranges from almost 200 gil to almost 2,000 gil per unit. Times that by a stack of 99 means one inventory slot can go a long ways. So I spent roughly 45 minutes going through the market board picking up all the materia worth not much more than the vendor value. If I saw potential based on the sales history, I would purchase materia that was fairly close to the normal range of sales, just to make sure that when I listed, I would be the cheapest. Not too many, and yes, I did have a loss on maybe 2 out of 10 items because of this, but the profit was worth the margin, so I was willing to take that. As I was shopping, I found a huge deal on Fieldcraft Demi Materia 2, 10,000 gil per unit for a stack of 99, and the next ones in line were 30,000. Yes, I know that was almost a million gil investment, but that was well over doubling the value, and based on the sales history, I decided to jump in and try it out. Relisting the regular materia was easy. It was simply throwing it up. For a majority of the time, I listed it for 1,000 gil or more, which on so many materia, being listed for 200 to 400 gil per unit, that was a profit margin of 600 to 800 per each one. Again, pardon how I didn't keep track. I only started recording after I saw the Demi Materia. So let's go ahead and talk about the differences in sales between regular materia and the Demi Materia. So with the regular materia, it sold fast, and most of the time, it sold for at least double of what I put into it, and I never once had to go through and undercut. With the Fieldcraft Demi Materia 2, that was a little bit different of a story. I had to camp the market board for a couple hours, and I was able to grab another 30, and those were listed for about 17 and 18k per unit. Now, most likely, whoever was selling the original stack saw that it sold, and they were trying to dump whatever else they had for just a hair more. However, in the middle of camping, several of them sold for 30,000, and I was able to sneak in selling 2 of them for 70,000. But that's when the undercuts started happening. But after I bought up all of these silly cheap Demi Materia, whoever was selling them must have run out of their supply, and prices stabilized within a day. For the first day of selling, I created the illusion of a short supply without changing the demand, having at most 5 of them selling at a time. This, of course, caused the prices to stay stable. But the second day, when I went to relist, I listed many more to fill in the slots that I wasn't using for the regular materia. This is called flooding the market, and the prices of the Demi Materia literally dropped to 22,000 gil per unit by that evening, which is still a decent profit, but it severely dropped my net worth. Net worth is one of the biggest keys to being a professional flipper. Net worth basically means the amount of gil that you have in cash, as well as the value of the items that you are holding. As a flipper, you of course want to have as much cash on you as possible when you go shopping. The more gil you have, the more buying power that you have. But when you go to list, you will want to have as high of a net worth as possible. The resale of items is how you are able to increase the cash that you have to go back and flip. So you can see how important it is to increase your net worth. And this of course takes time. So it's been about 4 days and I spent 2 million gil. So let's see what we got. But first, an example of why you need to make sure that you don't flood the market. The demand still hasn't changed, but the supply has gone up. So the prices have crashed down again. The price of that stack of 27 that you see there, most people will not buy that, even though that is a whopping undercut of 3,000 gil. But that caused the next person in line to undercut right back down to 18,000, which is the same as the most expensive item I have purchased. Funny tip though, this is one of the ways that brutal flippers will do to try to increase their supply or net worth. They will flood the market or throw in silly stack sizes, forcing people to undercut them, and then they purchase those people out. They know that they will be undercut, and undercutters are actually very predictable. Or in other words, brutal flippers will take advantage of predictability. So what do you do in a case like this? You could always buy up the people that undercut you, but in today's video I'm not willing to do that. But thank you to market flexes, just sit on your supply until the prices go back to at least 20% more than what you paid for it. So let's take a look at what we got back in 4 days. From the first retainer, who is primarily in charge of the Fieldcraft Demi Materia, she gave me 444,000 gil. And the second retainer and the third retainers both were in charge of these regular Materia. So the second retainer gave me 31,000 and the third retainer gave me 42,000, or in total 517,000 gil in 4 days. That is still $1.5 million left to sell before we break even, but we will have to see over the course of the next few days. I have the idea I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a series. Alright everybody, I would like to thank you all so much for watching my video. A big thank you to everyone who has liked, disliked, commented, and subscribed. And for some big news, it looks as though I'm going to get myself my own computer soon. That will help so much in being able to make videos, solving issues like being able to play on my own terms, and having enough storage for footage, and so much more. And with the baby growing just a little bit older, my playtime is starting to get a little bit more predictable, meaning I can finally progress in the game without weighing my family or other players down. So, now is a great time to start telling me topics that you would like to see me try. I have been having so much fun with the million gil dashes, power leveling, crafting, and so much more, but as always, I would be nothing without you, so until we meet again, much love and happy flipping.